Sunday Night Football here at pregame.tv. We've got the Packers at Houston. I'm Scott Spreitzer with Bryan Leonard and Marco D'Angelo. Now, Houston, Bryan, currently laying 3 points, total 48. They opened a little bit higher. They've come down a little bit. Had the Jets on Monday night, and I'm watching the game, and it looked early on like it's going to be blowout city. I thought I'm going to lose this game for sure. Quick question as we jump into this one is, I got a call from a bettor on late Monday night after the game, and I thought he made a good point. He said, if this is the way Gary Kubiak coaches in the playoffs, this team's not going deep in the playoffs, because in the fourth quarter, probably the last half of the third and the fourth, it was hand the ball off and let's get out of here, playing not to lose rather than playing to win, which was good for those of us who have the Jets.
I anticipated that. You take a look at their schedule, and you knew that was definitely going to be a sleepwalk type of game. And I, too, had the Jets in that game. I was at a bar. I think I was one of 3 guys that had bet the Jets. And, I'm leaving, and, and they were looking bad. And Houston came out and did what I thought and just took the air out of the ball.
Let me quickly ask you this before we move on to Marco here. If you're coaching the New York Jets, there's all this talk about, should Tim Tebow be starting over Mark Sanchez? And, Sanchez is throwing for less than 50% in most games now, but he's never had quality receivers. Do you commit to Tebow? Do you forget about this goofy wildcat that they've tried to implement, or do you commit to Mark Sanchez at this point? Because I think you go one way or the other. You don't keep tinkering with both.
Well, we talked about this, I believe, on last week's show, and I said they weren't going to make the change until after the bye week. Now, we'll see. Obviously, they'll stick with the normal guy this week, but at the bye week, if he's going to make any change at all, that would be the time to do it.
Yeah, I think they either make it might not be a bad idea to make the move, but it's only a rest of this season situation, because you're not going to get long-term wins out of a Tim Tebow-led offense. But with a team without any wide receivers, you might as well try it now. But Marco, let's get back to the Packers in Houston. All the talk following last year's playoffs and the Packers getting knocked out, unable to defend their Super Bowl championship from the previous year, was about their defense. And they were close to dead last in a lot of key defensive categories. A little bit better this year. They're middle of the pack for the first 4 or 5 weeks in most key categories, around 14th to 16th in that range in the NFL. Sometimes they have a pass rush, sometimes they don't. It just matters how high or how many revolutions Clay Matthews' motor is beating at the time, if they're going to have that or not. But the bottom line is, in this particular game, if they don't get that defensive pass rush going, it really opens things up for 2 things for Houston. You've got Arian Foster, who can run the football, and then when guys are back on their heels a little bit, Matt Schaub can tear you apart. What do you see in this game?
Definitely. The Packers haven't fixed the defense. I mean, that's the big point. The last 2 weeks, they've given up 429 yards to Drew Brees. Yeah, that's Drew Brees. We understand that. But last week, Andrew Luck, rookie in the NFL. Granted, he's supposed to be the second coming, of the Messiah, so to speak, in Indianapolis. But he threw for 345 and brought the team back. Those were not garbage time yards. He brought them back and won the game at the end of the game. They've got problems, and I agree with you. And I just want to make the hat trick. I had the Jets on Monday, too.
Awesome.
So
we went to 3 people.
The thing is, and I agree, last week Houston just kept things under wrap. I think, me personally looking at this, Houston's going to open things up on this offense, because they didn't worry about the Jet offense. They're going to get a lead. They're going to keep pouring it on. This is a primetime game for Houston. When was the last time? They haven't had many primetime games for
last
Houston.
One was last
Monday night.
At home. At home.
Memory's getting
at home.
You're getting a little older.
I mean, guys, at home. This is a big.
Didn't let him finish.
Yeah. I had a joke. I'll leave that go. We don't want to be booted off the air. But this is a situation that you're going to see. They've got the most balanced offense, I think, to me, this is one of the 3 best teams in the league. And offensively, you've got a great running game, you've got a super passing game, and then look at, you've got a quarterback that hasn't, he's not a marquee name, but he's been getting the job done. And just think, if he didn't get hurt last year, what the Houston team would have been last year. I think you're going to see a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, Brian, I'm going to give him a break. I'm going to give him a pass, Gary Kubiak, because he did what I was hoping he would do, which was shutting it down, and we got the win with the Jets. And this is your free pick, Sunday Night Football, the battle between the Packers and Houston. What say you?
I think this line is ridiculous. 3.5, 3 points here. I mean, you're telling me these 2 teams are on the same level? Not even close. Granted, the Packers, they had that 1 game taken away from them. But if you take a look at their games this year, they played 3 of 5 games at home. They've outscored the opposition by 1 total point. Take a look at Houston. 3 of 5 games on the road. They've outscored the opposition by 76 points. There's no doubt about it. Houston's a better team here. This is a bargain line. I love Houston.
Bryan Leonard's best bet, or free pick, I should say, on the Houston Texans minus the points. Green Bay still gets a lot of mileage for the name, the Green Bay Packers. Always be careful of that. Hey, we've got one more to go. Monday Night Football. Be sure to tune in for that right here at pregame.tv.